Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons for brandonsimmons.biz. This is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, speaking of news, I'm pretty sure we've all heard by now the news of Bill O Brien getting fired. So, I'm definitely probably going to be covering that a little bit more a little bit more in depth on that today, as far as like all of my thoughts on surrounding that issue. What I will say though is this: usually I do a recap of the previous week's game, but given what's been going on lately, I think I can probably just skim through that real quick. Uh, it wasn't nothing to write home about. We lost again. Fourth straight loss to open the season. Watson's first 300-yard game, and it was the only time that Bill O'Brien called plays this season. So, with that being said, ironic on that last part that it can transition right into the main topic, Bill O'Brien getting fired. So, a couple of things. First, I'll start off with my initial reaction. So when I first heard it, I was like, they finally got it done. This is this is something that's been coming along. That's the fans have been talking about for a long time in the making. Whether it's just different issues they had with his game planning, his play calling in previous seasons, just getting the team prepared for different games as well. The fans have been like, we're not really pleased with what he's doing, and you could probably point out examples of maybe the playoff loss to the Colts, the playoff loss to the Kansas City, the playoff loss to the Colts the previous season, the playoff loss to the Colts. The playoff loss to the Colts the previous season, the playoff loss to the Chiefs this past season in the second round. The teams just came out flat, unprepared. They got blew out. Hell, in the Chiefs game, they got spotted 24 points, and they blew that lead. So just different things like that. Before you even get to the GM situation and all that stuff. So that was my initial reaction. It was finally done. It's over. Now, as the week went on, I started seeing like some of the different reports, as I'm pretty sure y'all all have as well, just about what led up to it. One of the earliest reports they obviously had to break with was an alleged argument between him and J.J. Watt. Later on in the week, it came out that it wasn't so much Watt, but it was more so an argument between O'Brien and the defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver. I guess there was one of the practices that's something that happened, and the defense wasn't going to be able to get all of their drills in that day, and so that kind of broke out into an argument or whatever, and somehow Watt got caught up in the mix. But there was also stories on he was just arguing with different players and coaches on various things, and so it's those stories that within those stories as well, people were reporting that some of the players were saying that he lost the locker room. So when a coach in any sport, a coach loses the locker room, then that's pretty much writing up their own pink slip on that right there. So definitely probably could explain why the players just they just weren't they were just getting beat left and right. Now mind you, this season we had three sort of tough games on the schedule. We had the Chiefs, we had the Ravens, and we had the Steelers as well. But at the same time, it's like you still got to go out there and compete, and the Texans just did not look like they were competing at all, coaching wise or playing wise. So yeah, those stories that were surrounding it, it just seemed like it was it just seemed like it just really made sense and put this whole thing into perspective. And one thing and another thing I've seen this week as well with the Texans or just the fan base is a lot of people were celebrating, and I get it. Like O'Brien has done like a lot of messed up stuff. I didn't even like expound upon the GM thing, because people were, they were. He wasn't the official GM at the time, but they were putting the Jadeveon Clowney trade. They pinned it on him, as as one of the trades that kind of ruined the team as far as like giving away our draft picks, or just not getting anything in value in return. They pinned the Tunsil trade on them, in which we gave up 2 first-round picks. Um, they did. They did. Of course, we all know the DeAndre Hopkins trade. We see how that's turning out. So that particular trade was something that. It wasn't just a stain on this franchise. It was, it left a bad taste in the mouth of a lot of fans. They were like, how could you trade a player of that caliber and just get so much in return? It pretty much made us a laughing stock. It made O'Brien more so the laughing stock of this entire league. And, you really just can't have things like that on the franchise. So, but going back to my point about not celebrating too hard, we really can't, because they essentially fired the coach and the GM. Yeah, he held 2 positions or whatever. So, but usually when you fire your GM, things are just kaput. It's all downhill basically. So what I'm saying is this. Excuse me, I'm bugging right now. I had to reshoot this for YouTube. So anyway, you fire your coach and your GM. It's all downhill from here. Obviously, it was already downhill, but the problem is we have to look for both of those candidates now. And not only that, as far as head coach goes, there's like firing the head coach 4 games in the season. There's a lot of football left to be played. And so it's like you kind of wonder how that's going to affect the morale of the team. Are they going to play harder? Are they going to be dejected just early in the season? We haven't even had our bye week yet. And, already our coach is gone. We need to look for a new coach. Already we need to look for a new general manager. And so basically it's not a lot to celebrate as far as like him getting fired, because there's a long road ahead of some pieces that we have to replace. And so I'm glad that management is moving in a new direction, even though they put us in this direction in the first place. But I'm not going to be like super excited that he got fired. It's just not going to happen. So that's what it is with that particular thing. Going forward, so right now we got Romeo Crennel as our head coach, interim head coach. He has an okay his record as a head coach is not that great. I don't even think he has a playoff game as a head coach. But as a defensive coordinator, he's done well or whatever. So him like getting directly involved with this team will probably help our defense a little bit more. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how that can change, because we definitely need to change. Well, we definitely need a spark on the defense. I know Anthony Weaver is new, but there's definitely need to be some type of spark lit, especially within our run defense. Candidates for GM, I haven't heard a lot about candidates. I'm not too keen on like who's the hot name for like front office positions or whatever like that. I'll try to do my research and just really follow along, because I think whoever we bring in, they're gonna have their hands full in making some decisions. I think the first primary decision is going to be figuring out what to do with this offense. How can they, either make it better or just pretty much, just make it better. But how can they do that? Is it, free agency? Is it, trying to get some draft picks and all this other stuff? So that's another thing. O'Brien, he sent away, quite a few of our draft picks. So I think that'll probably be something that he'll look into. Like the new GM will probably be looking into building up, or just like kind of working with the draft picks we have. As far as candidates for head coach going forward, I think basically it's going to be right now the hottest name out there that everybody keeps throwing around is Eric Bieniemy. A lot of people like him. There's some people that say like he can definitely make him and Deshaun Watson would definitely be a good pairing, and I really do think that. Watson, he has the same. Bieniemy is Kansas City Chiefs current offensive coordinator right now, and with the Chiefs, they drop 37 as soon as they step off the bus. So I think with Watson, who has a similar skill set to Mahomes, I think him and Bieniemy would definitely make some magic together. I would love to see what they can do if he can take Watson to the next level. As far as like what he's already doing, like Watson's already a playmaker, hands down. But see if he can enhance that a little bit more, tweak that a little bit more to change his game and just step it up to the next part. But other than that, man, just to wrap up on Bill O'Brien, he has done some great things for this organization. You know, I'll say the one thing I thought was kind of interesting that I wrote the other day in my NFL column. Bill O'Brien was a victim and a criminal. I said he was a victim of a management that just threw power at him. Because with this ownership, they've seen this Texans team like from the deepest of the lows to like some highs. You know what I'm saying? And so they remember when they couldn't get into the playoffs, and then when Kubiak came in, when they couldn't get in the playoffs with Don Capers, then they let him go. And when Kubiak came in, he got us. He was there for a while until he got us into the playoffs. Like 2 of his last 3 seasons with the team, and so he got us there. And then like after those 2 seasons, they let him go. After those 2 seasons, they let him go that following year. But also, so it's like 2 playoff appearances. How can you top that? Topped no playoff appearances. So how are you going to top 2 playoff appearances? So when O'Brien came in, he definitely got us to the playoffs. Not with some great quarterbacks either. We had some scrubs that got us, that still pulled out some wins for us. Fitzpatrick was here. Brian Hoyer. You see what Brian Hoyer did in the New England game the other night. So, I mean, for him to be able to get us into the playoffs, that was something. Brock Osweiler, like, yeah, now granted, we had DeAndre Hopkins, we had Will Fuller during those days, but with what was I gonna say? Yeah. So, but still, like that type of quarterback play, that's and getting us to those playoffs. Hell, even with Osweiler, we got into the second round. Mind you, the Raiders were missing their starting quarterback who was hurt. Derek Carr was hurt at the time, but we still beat them. We still got to the second round of the playoffs behind Brock Osweiler. So that's a pretty crazy thing to remember. But the point I'm making is Bill O'Brien did do quite a bit with such very little, I would say, in his first couple seasons, and such very little, I would just say, in terms of quarterback. He got more into his coaching career. We got him a quarterback, actually. We re-signed maybe 1 or 2 key pieces on defense. But then we just pretty much let them go after that. So, but I mean, I think it was like 4 division titles within 6 or 7 years, compared to just those 2 that we had before. Management would probably think like, hey, if he can do this, why not trust him with some power? But it just really wasn't a good. It really wasn't a good decision, given the criticism that was surrounding just some of his coaching, and in these playoff games that we lost. So it was like they saw the numbers, but they didn't really give a deep dive into it. So I would definitely say, they just gave him that power when they shouldn't have. On the flip side of that, he was criminal in the fact that he kind of knew that he had to do a little bit better at his job and coaching, and he just took this general manager position and he just kind of ran with it. And so, I mean, you can't really blame anybody for getting presented a job that can better their career or whatever. But at the same time, you got to think that some people just have to have like the wherewithal to be like, all right, I need to kind of master this one thing before I actually, take on this whole other new thing. So I would say he was criminal in that, and he could have turned that down just for the fact of improving his coaching and all that stuff for bigger games and all that. But he didn't, and so he took that on, and now you got to live with that decision. So best of luck to O'Brien. And despite all that, the Texans still have a football game to play this weekend. Actually, I believe another home game. This time against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so this game is only going to require a couple of things for them to win this game. So first off, try to get the Jaguars to go away from their running game. In the last 3 games, Gardner Minshew threw the ball for 25 plus completions, 40 plus attempts, but he's 0-3 in those last 3 games. So he definitely, 0-3 in those last 3 games. So I would definitely try to force him to do that, and just it'll kind of save our run defense as well. Jaguars averaging 4.4 rushing yards an attempt, right around the 4.7 that we're giving up. So I definitely think it would take a load off of our run defense. Just give our defense some type of confidence within this game, considering everything that's been going on throughout this whole season so far. And also, for what the players just all need to do for this game is show the change in the regime. Bill O'Brien's fired. He's gone. That's over with. You don't have to deal with that no more. You don't have to deal with questions about his job security or nothing like that. Just show that it's a new day in the franchise. Play at a high energy level. Like, come out aggressive, and coaching too. Come out aggressive, firing on all cylinders or whatever cool cliche you got for that. But just compete at a high level. Just show that, okay, the solution was firing Bill O'Brien. We found a solution. Now we're finna solve the problem. So, just come out, do that, and just try and get this first W of the year. It's a perfect time to do it. It's Jacksonville. They've been our rival since the beginning. So just come out and do what you got to do. So that's all I got for this week. I'm Brandon Simmons from brandonsimmons.biz. Holla black.